Well, Nebraska continues their preparations for Michigan State here this week. Hi, Sean Callahan with HuskerOnline. And, for offensive coordinator Dana Holgorsen, he said it was a very physical bye week.
I've seen us practice at a very, very high level. Okay, so I give our team, our players, Coach Rule, tremendous credit for having the resiliency to come out and practice the way that they did Tuesday and Wednesday. I've never seen it. I've never seen it like that in a bye week, and get away from it for several days, come back focused on Sunday, and then go out again this morning and have a really good practice. Okay, so you play a good team and the outcome isn't what you want it to be, then you just need to learn from it, right? And I think our team has learned from it, and man, I'm thrilled to see what it looks like on Saturday.
Offensive lineman Rocco Spindler was pretty blunt himself, describing what the bye week was like.
Yeah, we got after it, plain and simple as that. I mean, it was a very violent, physical approach, and I feel like we needed that.
As for this offense, Nebraska now ranks number 2 nationally, throwing the football through 5 weeks, but there's no question balance needs to be there long term.
I think Dylan's playing at a very, very, very high level, right? And so how I call plays, I call what's working. Okay, so I don't go into a game saying, man, we need to throw for 350 yards. It's all about how the flow of the game is. Okay, with that said, our running back, our running game, it needs to improve against an opponent like that, right? And so, I was happy with where the run was after the first few games, but then you play a top 20 team that's, a perennial top 20 team, and it didn't look the way it needs to look. We weren't finishing blocks, and that's not a shot at our O-line. That's a shot at our offense because there's so many people that are involved in it, right? First play of the game, Emmett gets 14 yards, and that's the longest run that we had all day. And so we gotta do a better job of scheming things up. We gotta do a better job of sustaining blocks. That's everybody on offense, and then we gotta run harder, And I know a lot's been said about who number 2 is and all that stuff. We have options, and it's our job to get them there. And when we put them in there, it needs to look better. So if you want more running, if you want more rushes, then when I call it, it's got to look better. I'm not going to just keep calling things that aren't working for us, right? So we have a very diverse offense and we can do a lot of different things. We can get the ball to a lot of different people. That to me is balance. That's balance, okay? And my job is to call the plays that are working to where we have a chance to be successful.
However, this game does set up nicely for quarterback Dylan Raiola, as Michigan State, not a great pass rushing team and has one of the worst pass defenses in the conference.
Yeah, they have a great front, great linebackers, and their safeties and corners play very well together. They play hard, and you face a team that plays hard and they play sound. They can create issues if you're not on your P's and Q's. So we'll have our hands full coming in Saturday, especially after, coming off a bye week. They're coming off a bye, we're coming off a bye. And, previous experiences from them, they've come out and beat some pretty good teams off a bye week. So any given Saturday, something could happen, and hopefully we'll be on the winning side of that.
As for defensive coordinator John Butler, the real focus for his unit has been stopping the run.
I think we have a good plan in terms of what we're doing when we think they're going to throw the ball. So we've got to solve the obvious, which is not just the run defense, but the explosive plays that we're giving up in the run defense. And really it comes down to guys being in their gaps, guys having the ability to get off blocks. Credit to the other team. I think I said this to you guys in the past, like I have to evaluate, can they block us? Can we tackle them? And I think through really the Cincinnati game and the Michigan game, because they're the two obviously comparable opponents in terms of talent similar to ours or better, you have to be able to evaluate. And right now we're getting blocked too much and we're not tackling them well enough. And we have to practice that. We have to emphasize that. At times maybe, we got to put more guys in the box, which then, as you know, when it's 11 on 11 and the quarterback's running the ball, the more you put in the box, the more you make yourself susceptible to throws down the field. But we obviously have to address that because that's the elephant in the room. That's Captain Obvious can figure out that we're giving up too many explosive runs.
They know they're going to get a challenge from this Michigan State Spartan offense, which features multiple 200-plus pound running backs.
You mentioned the running backs from Michigan State. And, a back that has power and has elusiveness and has the ability to hit the home run, they're tough to deal with. And that's just about us, again, getting more people around the ball and having more population. So if one guy misses, guys miss tackles all the time, but if one guy misses, somebody's got to be there to overlap and get him on the ground. And That's what we've got to really do a good job of. And what we've really been emphasizing is not just the tackling piece, but the population, getting more people to the ball.
But really, the Spartan offense is going to be led by their quarterback, Aiden Childs, who's a dual threat, very similar to what Nebraska has seen against Sorsby from Cincinnati and Underwood at Michigan.
I think he's a great athlete. He can throw in the pocket. He can throw on the move. He can run design. They have the quarterback draws that we've seen, out of Cincinnati and that we've seen out of Michigan. They have the same exact structure that we've seen. And then they run him a lot in the red zone. And then he takes off a lot just in scrambles. He's very difficult to tackle. You can see he's got strong lower body. And you can see he's a very, very, very good competitor, which, that's really what it comes down to in these games is the competitors stand out, the ones that aren't on your team, the ones that are on their team. And you can see that, much like Sorsby, when you see how well he's competed even after our game, those guys that have it in them and in their heart and they're going to do whatever it takes to win, those are the types of guys you have to make sure you're defending.
On the injury front, still no word on Malcolm Hartsogg's status, but for John Butler in that secondary, it's led to a lot of shuffling around. We've seen a lot of Donovan Jones and Rex Guthrie.
Yeah, it's unfortunate with Malcolm right now. He's still trying to fight to get back on the field, and obviously he's made some big plays for us throughout his career last year and this year, specifically obviously in the Cincinnati game. But I think our depth in the secondary, you mentioned Rex, he's a developing young player that's playing a lot. You mentioned Donnie, a young player that's playing a lot and playing well for us. So, that area really, while every area has to be an area of continued developing, we're not going to overreact and say because we're doing this in the run defense, we don't have to sacrifice time and let our pass defense and our pass rush falter. But, that's obviously an area of strength, both personnel-wise and, systematically. So it's not a concern for us. We're happy with those guys' development. We just got to keep bringing those guys along.
And finally, if you watched any Big Ten football over the weekend, one-score games were the theme. And really, that's the theme every week, Dana Holgorsen said.
Yeah, it'll be the fifth Big Ten opponent that I've gone against, and every game's been one score. I mean, in our games, they all have been one-score games. Go back to last year when I was here, USC was a one-score game. I guess Wisconsin, we got away from them a little bit, and Iowa was a one-score game. Michigan was a one-score game. You got to go into it thinking every game's going to be a one-score game. And every game, and when you're playing games like that, every drive is important. You're going to get about 10 to 12 drives, so you better take advantage of every one of them.
Huskers will come back to work here Wednesday as they continue preparations for the Spartans with the Nebraska football team in Lincoln. I'm Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com.